Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. I'm back today with another plant video. Today's video is going to be part 2 of my summer 2021 houseplant tour. If you missed part 1 where we looked at the plants I keep here in my bedroom, I will link that up here for you. But today we will be looking at the plants I keep in my kitchen and my living room. So without further ado, let's get started. We are now in my kitchen, and this is where I usually start these houseplant tours. I only have a couple plants on this little kitchen island here. This one is a Scindapsus trubei Moonlight. I did get this one at King Soopers in November last year. And then this is another Moonlight. This one I also got from King Soopers, and most of the plant was dead when I purchased it, so this is all that's left. It's kind of rehabbing right now. And then this is a Paleonia repens that I got for my anniversary this year. I only have a couple plants over here because this part of the kitchen does not get a lot of light, but I do have this handmade terrarium or greenhouse that I made out of an old fish tank. I have couple Hoyas in there and some jewel orchid cuttings and some philodendrons. If you want to see everything in more detail, I do have a terrarium tour video that I'll go ahead and link for you. And then I have this little snake plant that I got from Target. I don't know what kind it is, although I do know it is some kind of bird nest sansevieria. And same goes for this one. This one's also from Target. I think this one is some type of honeyeye. Similar to this one, I think they are both bird nest sansevierias, so they do stay this shape and they stay kind of small. And then this one is a Sansevieria fernwood that I got a couple years ago from a little mall kiosk in Littleton. We are looking at the top of my kitchen cabinets. I am standing on a stool for this, so I can't get too close to the plants. But this one is some type of Algerian ivy, and then this is an Aglaonema. I don't know the kind. I think one of you let me know what kind this was before, but I honestly forgot. And then here is another Scindapsus Moonlight, and then there is another Aglaonema, a different kind, another Aglaonema that I rescued from the clearance section at City Floral a year ago. And lastly, I have my very first ZZ plant that Jesse brought home from me from Target as a surprise one day. Next to the couch, I have this mini side table, and right here is a Peperomia polybatria, or raindrop peperomia. I did get this one from Home Depot or Lowe's, I can't remember which one. And it's not too happy, but I have kept it alive for a lot longer than I thought I could, to be honest. Peperomias don't usually like me, but this one is actively growing still. And then on the table here, I have a little sansevieria or snake plant. I don't know the exact kind. I think it's some kind of trifasciata. And then this one, again, I don't know the kind. I got this from a cute little family-owned nursery in Arvada. And I believe this one is a Sansevieria kirkii, although I could be wrong. I can't really tell snake plants apart, if I'm being honest. This one here is my Raven ZZ, and I got this one at King Soopers in November. I was looking everywhere for one of these for a long time for my friend Ashlyn, and finally found it at King Soopers. I think they do have them there still, so if you're looking for one of these, check your big box stores. And then I have hanging in some macrame a Hoya Shepherdii. I got this one quite recently. I did include it in my Hoya haul video. I used to have a jade Scindapsus hanging here, but I did change things up a little bit. We are now looking at my coffee table, and I think this one was actually on here during my last houseplant tour, but this is a jewel orchid, and mine's kind of leggy and kind of ugly because I'm always cutting pieces of it off, but I have it in this cute little teacup pot here, and it seems to like being here. It's growing a lot for me. Down on this bottom part, I have a starfish sansevieria, and it has a little baby coming out right there. And then on this side, I have a Scindapsus silvery Ann. This one's never too happy with me, but I honestly ignore it most of the time, so that's probably why. And then next to that one, I have a little Peperomia cubensis. And I love this peperomia. It's always happy for me, which is rare for peperomias to be happy with me, but it grows really quickly and it's super easy and fun to propagate. I have some floating shelves above the TV area, and over here I have yet another Scindapsus Moonlight. It's got a yellow leaf there, not sure why. And then here is a Pearls and Jade Pothos. I've had this one for a couple years and I swear it doesn't grow at all. This is a little Hoya Crinkle 8 cutting I have in some leca. This one is a Peperomia clusiifolia or Peperomia Jenny or a jelly peperomia. Has a lot of nicknames, but I cut mine down to the soil and this is all new growth. Back here I have a little Maranta. This one is just in water currently. I did have it in leca and it wasn't too happy, so I tried putting it in just water and it's actively growing since then, so I think it likes it better. And then here I have a little Peperomia Pixie. It's kind of ugly, but I've had it for a couple years now and it's surviving. And then here is a big Hoya Crinkle 8. I love this cute little lemon pot. I got this at Target for like $3 on clearance a couple summers ago. And then up on this top shelf here, I have a Cebu Blue Pothos. This one used to be a lot bigger and I overwatered it a while ago. So these are all clippings that I rooted. And this one is an Enjoy Pothos. It's very similar to the Pearls and Jade, but it has less speckling and it has more white on the edges of the leaves. Here are some Peperomia cubensis cuttings just in some water. There are some roots growing. This one is a Scindapsus pictus argyrius or silver satin pothos. And I used to have this one in my bedroom. It wasn't too happy. I did recently repot it as well, so I think it's gonna do better in here for me. This one is a Dieffenbachia Camille. I believe it is the kind that stays pretty small, and mine's staying true to that. It doesn't grow at all. Here I have a little confetti syngonium, and it's in this cute little apricot mug that I got at the antique mall. Here is my Scindapsus Jade Satin that I mentioned a little while ago. I moved it to a brighter spot to try and encourage new growth. And then here I have another little syngonium. This one is just a green one. I don't know the variety. And then hanging here, I have a couple of little air plants. I do not know the kind, but these are my longest living air plants that I've ever had. I usually kill them. Also hanging, I have this beautiful Hoya pubicalyx splash, and this is one of my all-time favorite plants. I did include it in my top 10 favorite plants video, and I just love it. I've never cut this plant and I never intend to. I love how wild it looks. So cool. And then down here, I have a bunch of plants on the floor because I don't have a lot of room. But this one is a Scindapsus pictus exotica. This was my very first exotica. I have 4 others that I will show you in this video. But I let this one trail down this stool here. And next to that, I have a bird of paradise. It's not very happy. I did rescue this one from Home Depot for like $15. And it's also been through a little spider mites bout, but it seems to be doing better now, so hopefully it'll start looking prettier soon. And then this one is my Monstera deliciosa. I do have another one of these that's much smaller. This one Jesse got me to replace my first one, which I sadly sunburned. It's got a new leaf coming in right there. And then on the floor here, I have a Rhaphidophora Hay. And I got this one at King Soopers. It was on my wish list for the longest time. I actually got 2 of them, in fact. And this one is dying, and I don't know why. I'm so sad. I ended up combining both of the plants into one pot. And this whole side of the plant is like fully dying. I keep it right next to the humidifier, but that doesn't seem to help. Luckily, this side seems to be doing okay. If you have any care tips for this, please let me know. I'm really sad that it's dying. I'm just glad that I didn't spend a lot of money on it. It was only $15. And then I have another plant that I got from King Soopers. This one is another Scindapsus silvery Ann. If you couldn't tell, I am obsessed with Scindapsus plants. I just absolutely love them, all varieties. So I have multiple of all of them. Up here on top of this bookshelf, I have my philodendron micans. It's so pretty. I love how the leaves kind of look iridescent when the light hits them. And then here is another exotica. I have that one in a little wicker basket I got at Target. And then this is another Argyrius. This one I also got at King Soopers. On this shelf here, I have some type of jungle cactus. I can't pronounce the name, but I'll show you the little tag here. And here is a Hoya Chelsea. This was one of my first Chelseas. And a Hoya Chelsea cutting. This one is a splash. There are some Paleonia repens cuttings. And then I have this cute little propagation station. And I have some Kalanchoe cuttings in here. This one is a Hoya lobii. And then I have some Hoya serpens and Hoya carnosa cuttings in here. It's just kind of like a free-for-all random assortment of cuttings. Oh, and back here is a ZZ plant cutting. I actually found this cutting in a random parking lot and decided to see if I could grow it. On this shelf, I have a little Tradescantia. I do not know the exact kind. I've had this one for a few years actually. It was one of the first plants in this whole apartment. It was given to me by a family friend. And then here is my oldest Hoya obovata. I love it so much. It's so pretty. There is a philodendron lemon lime. I did cut this one down a while ago to kind of promote new growth. And it does have a bunch of baby leaves in there. This one is a Dischidia Jerry. I think it's actually been renamed, but that's what I call it. And I think it has a couple other nicknames. I think Green Cascade is another of its nicknames. But I got that one from Etsy last summer. And then here's another one from Etsy. It was part of a Hoya bundle. And this is just a Hoya pubicalyx. I have it in this little catch pot that I painted some little peaches. And then here is a Hoya Daitra. I got this one from Etsy as well. It was sold to me in a little shot glass. And it's finally growing after a year of doing nothing. Down on this shelf, I have another Hoya obovata. This one I propagated a ton, and it's not too happy with me. This one is a philodendron neon. Got a dead leaf here. This one used to be much larger, and then last summer I had a huge battle with thrips on a lot of my houseplants, so this one did get a big chop, but it is coming back nicely, luckily. Here is a Jade Pothos. I've had that one forever. Doesn't like to grow much, but it is working on a new leaf down in there. And then here is my Hoya Mathilde or Mathilde. Not sure how you want to say it. It's another one I got from Etsy. And I think it's super cute. I love tiny Hoya cuttings. I don't know why. On this shelf, I have this Begonia Rex. It was one of my first begonias. It kind of started my interest in begonias. I've killed a bunch of them over time, but this one actually really likes me, and I've kept it alive for well over a year now. Back there is a Peperomia piccolobanda, or what's left of one. It's still alive, so I'm going to count it. And then here is a Phalaenopsis orchid that I got from the clearance section at Home Depot a couple years ago. And I actually keep this one like an air plant. I let it soak in water once a week and then keep it dry the rest of the time. And it's doing really well. It has a ton of new roots growing. I hope it'll flower for me again soon too. And then this one here is a Peperomia Silver Frost. I believe the yellowing is from too much light. I did have it in a little terrarium, and I don't think it liked that. But this new leaf here has been since I moved it out of the terrarium. Here is a Peperomia Hope. This is one of the Peperomias that I do really well with. It is always happy no matter what. And then here is another Cebu Blue Pothos. Again, this one was created from clippings of my larger plant that I killed, sadly. And on this bottom shelf is where I keep my other little terrarium. This was an old cherry shrimp tank that I recycled. And then here is a Philodendron Xanadu. This is another one that I chopped down to nothing, and it regrew for me. In between my bookshelves on the floor over here, I have a few. So this one is a Monstera Adansonii. I did purchase this one for the sole purpose of propagating it. So this is all new growth over the past few months. And then here is my Philodendron Cellulum or Philodendron Hope. I know it has been reclassified, but I'm still gonna call it a Philodendron Hope. And it's another one that I chopped down to the ground. It was much larger, but I was battling thrips last summer, so these are new leaves here. And then behind that guy, I have my first Monstera deliciosa. This was a much larger, beautiful plant, and I had set it outside with some neem oil, and I burned most of the leaves to death. So this is all that remains of my once large and glorious plant, but luckily it is still alive, so we're gonna look on the bright side. Here I have a little rubber tree. It is a burgundy ficus. Mine has lost a lot of the reddish color. And then I have a Sansevieria zeylanica. This one was only 2 leaves for like the longest time, and it finally went through a little growth spurt this past summer. At the top of this other bookshelf, I have a Philodendron Congo. That one is working on a new leaf. And then I have another Monstera adansonii. That is one of the ones I did have to chop down, unfortunately, but it does have a lot of new growth. And then this one is a Peperomia scandens. This one is variegated. I've only had it for a few days, so I'm not sure how it's gonna do for me long term, but so far so good. And then at the end, I have a white butterfly syngonium. On this shelf, I have a fern leaf cactus. It didn't grow for me for the first year that I had it, but it's finally putting out this little stem. I think it's so cute. It's kind of wrapping around my decorations here. And then I have a little orchid cactus. And this one is a Thanksgiving cactus. This one likes to bloom for me at the wrong time of year. It usually blooms early spring instead of Thanksgiving, so I think it's a bit confused, but that's okay. And then I have a Rhipsalis pachyptera. Here is another kind of jungle cactus. There's the name of it if you're interested. But I thought this one was really cute. It kind of looked like a little bunny when I first got it, and it's grown a lot since then. Here I have a little Crassula volkensii. But I got this one because I thought the leaves were really cute and delicate looking. On this one, I have a lucky bamboo back there, finally growing after having it for a couple years. And then I have a little Hoya carrii and some leca. And this one is all that's left of my begonia breakdance. And it is growing, which is nice. I put it in leca because it had a ton of gnats in its old soil, and I thought I could rehab it in some water first, but I might just leave it in leca long term. Next to that, I have yet another exotica, and this one I think might be a silver splash just because of all of the high amounts of silver that it has. Here I have a rickrack cactus. I did go through a phase of wanting a ton of jungle cacti, if you couldn't tell. And I have another little propagation station. I think I got this one at TJ Maxx or Marshall's. And in here I have a Hoya delica sparta cutting, a Hoya lobii, and then a Hoya multiflora. This one is a Hoya serpens and some leca. And this one is a Hoya sunrise. This was part of a Hoya bundle that I got online. And then here is my most expensive plant, and this is my Hoya polyneura, or fishtail Hoya, or mermaid tail Hoya, whatever you want to call it. And I purchased this one when it was only a couple leaves from Etsy, and honestly, they ripped me off, but it's okay.
I learned my lesson. I was really new to buying plants online. I still love that plant though. Here I have a little Easter cactus. I think it's so cute. And I have another Thanksgiving cactus back here. And then here is a little Pilea peperomioides, or pancake plant. I think it has a ton of nicknames actually, but this is all that's left of mine. I had a much larger one. And then here I have a little Calissia repens. I don't do too well with Tradescantia or Tradescantia related plants, so this is one of those that's not very happy, but at least it's alive. Down here I have a Philodendron Brazil. I purchased one at King Soopers to fill out the pot, so this is actually a combination of two different plants here. And then I have a little pickle plant. This one's one of my favorites. Really easy succulent. And then I have some Rhaphidophora tetrasperma cuttings here. These guys root really quickly, which is cool. There are some Schinapsis silvery Ann cuttings in water. And then here is my Mama Hoya serpens. I did trim it quite recently because it kept putting focus on making flowers and I'd rather it work on leaves. And then this is a Ceropegia woodii string of spades. On this shelf, I have some more water propagations. I have here some little snake plant babies with roots. This is Sansevieria Sayori. I'm not sure how you say it. I'll put the name on screen. It is quite similar to Bantel's Sensation, but I got those from my friend Ashlyn. And then I have some lipstick plant cuttings and some jade satin Scindapsus cuttings. Here I have another Archerius, and then this guy is a black pagoda lipstick plant. I made this one entirely from cuttings of my other plant that I have in the bedroom. And then I have another Exotica there. Moving down, I have my last Exotica, my fifth one. And then here is a Hoya Crinkle 8. I purchased this one just to propagate, but I'm letting it get used to my apartment first. And some more Silvery Ann cuttings. And then down here, I have my beautiful Mona Lisa lipstick plant. I got this one from King Soopers as well. And I'm propagating a ton of this one too. Back there I have a Peperomia tetragona. It's kind of cool. The leaves kind of feel like cardboard. It's really interesting. I've actually had that one for a few years. It's one of the few Peperomias that do really well for me, luckily. And then this is a strawberry begonia, which I don't think is technically a begonia, but that's the common name for this guy. That is everything on this bookshelf. And now I'm not going to go into too much detail about all of these, but these are basically all the plants I am currently propagating. So I have some Hoya Chelseas that I started last October. Those guys are actually ready to go to new homes. I have some Hoya obovata in there. Got a lot of Monstera adansonii and a Peperomia cubensis. These guys are still rooting on this side, but I have some Snow Queen pothos and some Schinapsis moonlight and some variegated wax ivy. And then I wanted to try a new method of propagating, so I have some heavy perlite mixed with a little bit of soil and sand. And I'm propagating some Hoyas in here. So I have Hoya retusa, and this one is Discidia ruscifolia, And I have a few Hoya Shepherdii pieces rooting. You can actually see the roots coming in down there. They're just in these little solo cups that I punched holes in. But yeah, that's how I propagate a lot of my plants. I keep them in these little soil trays here.
Alright, so that is everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know which plant from today was your favorite. I think I'm going to do a part 3 and show you the plants I keep out on my balcony. I have a lot of cacti and succulents out there, so stay tuned for that. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye!